Right, 31 December 2024, and I apologize for the slight delay. This is because today has been very, very hectic. I've been moving around, doing a lot of stuff. So please accept my apologies on the last day of the year. So today is very, very important. As I said, this week, this is going to be a period that you are going to remember for a long, long time, because there is a big fight between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga, and now the military has joined. So I'm just showing you my Zimbabwe hat here. I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna remove it because it's not allowed for a man to wear a hat inside the house. So I learned this the hard way. So when I was at the village, a guy came to visit and he wore a hat, and the old people were not happy. They went after him very badly that day. So from that day, I knew that you mustn't wear a hat in the house. So the situation that is developing in Zimbabwe is very interesting. Chiwenga and Mnangagwa are fighting openly, but mostly the fight is from Mnangagwa's side. So Mnangagwa is sidelining Chiwenga, and he's also blacking him out. So there is a blackout on Chiwenga. Anything that Chiwenga does is not published. And now there has been an announcement that has been made, which is to say who is going to be the acting president of Zimbabwe for the next 20 days. So Kembo Mohadi is basically very, very ill. He is sick, and they had to take him back from India so that he can be appointed as acting president. And you are going to see that Kembo Mohadi won't be able to do anything. He's not able to walk. He's not able to talk. I showed you the other day. And they are going to try to surprise Chiwenga. So my understanding is that they want to surprise Chiwenga during the period when he's waiting to become acting president. Mnangagwa is going to make a big move against Chiwenga. And this is because Mnangagwa is afraid that if Chiwenga becomes acting president, something might happen. And that means they could remove him. And this is not speculation. This is a widely held view that there is something happening behind the scenes. And I've told you that something big is happening behind the scenes. The fight has reached a point where everyone around Mnangagwa is sleeping with their eyes open. No one knows what is going to happen and when it is going to happen. So it includes both sides. So the Chiwenga side and the Mnangagwa side, no one is sleeping. These guys are fighting openly. And this is because Mnangagwa has declared that he wants to go to 2030. And for him to go to 2030, he has to eliminate more people. So he has to eliminate more people on the Chiwenga side. So the guys on the Chiwenga side are afraid that they're going to be eliminated anytime. So they are still sleeping in different places. They are scared for their lives, and they don't disclose their location. So if you look at most of the military guys, you won't see them in public. You won't see them in public gatherings. They don't know how they're going to be poisoned. Because the poison is not coming from food only. Someone can just poison you through the air or whatever. I don't know how they're poisoning these people. And also, during your movements, you could be killed the way that these guys were killed, or the attempt on Rugeja's life. So there is massive problems on both sides. But currently, Mnangagwa is the one who's most afraid. He's going on leave, and he has appointed someone who's basically on sick leave. If you look at Mohadi, Mohadi is not fit to be at work. There's no way that Mohadi can be given a position in government. But Mnangagwa has made him the acting president for the next 19 days. And I can bet you that Mohadi is probably going to die in office. Die in office. That would be crazy. If that was to happen, if Mohadi was to die in office, that would be crazy. But that is the possibility that Mohadi, who is not even able to stand still, straight, because he's got crutches now. He's walking around with crutches. If Mohadi just drops, that means we have a serious problem where your acting president of Zimbabwe has died in office. And I'm anticipating that this is likely to happen within the next 19 days. If my sources, what they're telling me is true, Mohadi has got serious illness which cannot be repaired in India. Even the Indian guy said this can be sorted out. So the fear of Mnangagwa is manifesting itself in these appointments. And what you're going to see is tomorrow, which is the first, that is before Mnangagwa leaves, he's going to announce even more changes. And I'm anticipating a bigger role for Opam Chinguri. Opam Chinguri and Valerio Spanda are going to play key parts or a key role going forward. And Opam Chinguri is moving herself closer and closer to Mnangagwa on a daily basis. So she's someone to watch. And this has resulted in a big rift between the military and the Minister of Defense. So there is a big rift between these two, the Minister of Defense and the military. And the current ministry is now failing to have direct control over the military. The military generals are now closer and closer, taking more power and controlling more what happens in the actual day-to-day operations of the army in Zimbabwe compared to the guys at the Ministry of Defense who are now isolated with Mnangagwa. So Mnangagwa is isolated together with the guys in the Ministry of Defense, while the military guys are consolidating on their side. So crazy stuff that is happening. But Chiwenga, the man to watch, how is Chiwenga going to act? It's very important for us to watch Chiwenga's behavior. Right now, you see that Chiwenga is totally not there. You are not going to see Chiwenga right now. It's almost as if he doesn't exist. He's not in the public light. Is he planning or is he just hibernating? So that is the question. What is Chiwenga going to do? That is the very important question. Once Mnangagwa goes on leave and Mohadi goes into the acting presidency, what happens then? Because remember, Mnangagwa won't be able to come to the office. If he comes to the office, Mnangagwa. So what happens if Mnangagwa is on leave and Chiwenga is the only person that is healthy and able-bodied who is in the office, and Mohadi is just a sick person who is in bed? Because remember, Mohadi is not able to walk. They had to give him energy pills to come to that Thanksgiving ceremony. The man is extremely sick. And the people who talked to me said they had to literally lift him to go to that Thanksgiving event in Bulawayo this week. So very, very important. Two people. One side, you are going to see Opam Chinguri, she's going to be representing the interests of Mnangagwa, and then Chiwenga and the military generals on one side. So the year end is very dramatic, and let's see what happens between these two groups as they fight each other to the death. Remember, I told you that one is going to drop. One side is going to be eliminated. The only thing is who moves first. The one who moves last loses. The one who moves first wins. And Mnangagwa has made the first move. He has removed Chiwenga from the public space. He has eliminated him from the possibility of an acting presidency. And he has put Mohadi and Opam Chinguri in between as bodyguards. So these are the two people who are going to guard the position of Mnangagwa. And Mnangagwa is also not gone out of the country. So for the past 2 years or so, Mnangagwa has been feeling very uncomfortable in his position. So he doesn't go out of Zimbabwe for anything. So he is afraid that if he leaves, these guys are going to take over or stage some sort of coup. But I want you to understand that there is no way that Chiwenga is going to stage a coup. Chiwenga is not that kind of guy. So he's not going to stage a coup. It is not going to be a coup. But what is going to happen is something might happen which will make it difficult for Mnangagwa to return. So he's afraid that something will happen that will stop him from returning. So crazy stuff. Now let's quickly wrap this up. This is my last story of the year. And I am shocked that I'm talking about this because when we started this year, the man we're talking about is Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa was talking about dialogue with Mnangagwa. Dialogue is dead. There's no way you can have dialogue with Mnangagwa right now. Mnangagwa is got no future. The future is not Mnangagwa. So Chamisa, we started this year talking about Chamisa. Chamisa went into hibernation for over 6 months. saying nothing. Then mid-year, we're talking about the blue movement. And then that went away because, as I said to you, that was infiltrated. So the blue movement was badly infiltrated by Mnangagwa. He put in someone in there into the blue movement, and that project had to be stopped. Then now, Chamisa has come up with a better plan, and we've got a very powerful Chamisa going into the very end of this year. Chamisa probably the most powerful politician ever, and this is amazing because Chamisa can easily come from being quiet to being the man in charge. And this is happening right in front of our eyes. You remember what happened when Chamisa just came for this fundraising dinner. There was massive interest in what Chamisa does. So he is definitely the man that everyone is watching. But what you're seeing right now, as I said, the next 10 years are not political years. These are military years. From this year, 2024 to 2035, you're going to see a big role from the military. The only question is, how do they put themselves into office in a legitimate way? So how does the Zimbabwe military get in a legitimate way to fix the systems? Because what is broken right now are the systems. All our systems have been broken. So we need a transitional system in Zimbabwe. We don't want what's happening in Mozambique. That is painful. Like, these guys are going through one of the most troublesome period. They are going through the most difficult transition when they are moving from the military guys to the civilians. And that process is becoming very difficult. You saw that news yesterday met with all the opposition leaders except Venancio. So you can see this meeting that was held here. That is because the young people are no longer accepting the old system. They want a new system. So news is trying everything that is trying, but it won't work. The power has moved away from the politicians. The power is now with the people. So street power is what is important. What is happening in the political offices is determined in the streets. You're not going to see any strength coming from the top. Strength is going to come from the street. So even in Zimbabwe, it's going to be similar. The decision will be made on the street. So the question is, how do we legitimately get the people to install the guys who want to come in, which is the group which is going to lead the transition? And when I'm talking about the group that is going to lead the transition, I'm talking about young people that you don't expect to be leading. But those people need the support of the military. So there's no way that the military is just going to sit back and let chaos run around in Zimbabwe. The way that chaos is reigning in Mozambique, because there's a lot of chaos over there. So talking of Venancio, yesterday he issued two statements, very important statements. So the first one was that he wants to make certain changes to the constitution of Mozambique. And those changes include how people are elected. So how do local governors get elected? He wants those changes in the constitution. He wants to stop the election, the national election of local officials. So that is one change that he wants to do. Secondly, he wants to change the flag of Mozambique. So that flag that you're looking at behind you is got a gun. He wants to remove that gun from the Mozambican flag. He says that is a spiritual thing that is making Mozambique always fight. And then thirdly, he said that he wants to change the street names in all the major cities. These are things that are going to happen. Venancio Mondlane, a very, very important person in Mozambique, the leader, the future leader of Mozambique, and currently just waiting for this process to end. Filipe Nyusi is under extreme pressure to put in a negotiation team. The elders have gone into Mozambique and they said they want to mediate, but the government of Frelimo is refusing. You can see Chapo there at the end. That man is lost. He's not the president right now, and he's not capable of sorting out the situation over there in Mozambique, because Mozambique is just too big. The country is too big. And my solution would be to divide Mozambique into 10 countries or 10 states with 10 different presidents. And Venancio Mondlane becomes the president of Maputo, or that province around Maputo. So that is what I would suggest. Then we have a national president of Mozambique, or sort of like the system that is there in South Africa. South Africa has got a number of presidents and governments. So similarly, we can have the same in Mozambique, where you have different presidents in different parts of Mozambique, and then you have a national president who is elected nationally, and then the rest of the presidents come from some sort of proportional representation, because this country is just too big to be ruled by one person. Now, let's go to some news, and I hope that you guys understood what I said. I said Mnangagwa is afraid of Chiwenga. So Mnangagwa very badly afraid of Chiwenga. He's getting sleepless nights because of Chiwenga. He doesn't know what Chiwenga is going to do. So he's trying to put in Mohadi as acting president in these 19 days. And as Chiwenga is waiting to become the acting president, Mnangagwa wants to surprise him and cut him off. So I believe that Mnangagwa will just pretend as if he's doing nothing. And then one day you're just going to see on ZBC an announcement that Chiwenga has been removed. So I think that is what he wants to do. He wants to move on him when he's not watching. So he wants to surprise him very, very quickly, remove him when it's as if he's away, but he's there. So that is what Mnangagwa wants to do, and surprise Chiwenga, take him out and eliminate him as a threat. That can happen very quickly if Chiwenga is sitting there waiting to become the acting president. So very interesting period that we're entering. And these things that I'm telling you about are things that are happening behind the scenes. This team is going to fight in the open. Like you're going to see Chiwenga standing here and Mnangagwa saying here, and they must exchange words. Before that happens, nothing will happen. You must see an exchange of words. First, that day you see that exchange of words, that's day 2, because day 1 is this day. So day 1 is the day when Chiwenga openly boycotted Mnangagwa at Mbungu. That was day 1. Day 2 is the day we are going to see Mnangagwa and Chiwenga exchanging words in public. So that day is coming, and it's going to come very, very soon. And the cause is this corruption. This man is very corrupt, and also this lady, she's very corrupt, Opam Chinguri, one of the most corrupt people ever. These people are very, very corrupt, and a lot is happening behind the scenes with this team. They want to go to 2030 for a reason. They don't want Mnangagwa to go. Now, let's quickly look at other news. I want to quickly look at other news. I want to go to Zambia. So in Zambia, there is a massive development. The former president of Zambia, that is Edgar Lungu, has had a meeting at the US Embassy on Monday. This meeting is very controversial because the guys in President Hakainde Hichilema's office, they don't like it. They don't like this meeting that took place. So you can see the acting ambassador of the USA in Zambia, in Lusaka, she met with Edgar Lungu over here. Edgar Lungu has just been prevented from contesting. So he can't go back and contest. So this has become a big problem because President Hakainde Hichilema has got a very good relationship with President Joe Biden. And the coming in of President Trump is a big thing. So I don't know whether this is something to do with President Trump, but people are speculating that President Trump is probably going to have a different policy in Zambia. But President Hakainde Hichilema and his government have said they don't mind this meeting that has taken place between the former president of Zambia and the US Embassy. She's the acting ambassador. She's not the ambassador, but she's the acting ambassador. And she is called Linisa Wahid. She is the deputy chief of mission at the US Embassy in Lusaka. She held a meeting where Lungu said President Hakainde Hichilema is violating human rights, and he had a whole list of complaints against President Hakainde Hichilema, which he took to the US Embassy. And this is crazy because I don't think before this he was going to have this audience. So I don't know if the coming in of President Trump is making these changes. But obviously Zambia are going through a lot of political, there will be a lot of political strife in Zambia until 2026, I think, when they hold the elections. So that is going to be a crazy situation that we're going to face in Zambia. I like President Hakainde Hichilema myself. I don't think Lungu is a man that can change this country. But apparently Lungu has got a lot of supporters. I don't know why, but he's got a lot of supporters among the civil society. So a lot of guys that I talk to, they sort of like Lungu, and I think that is because of the tribal dynamics in Zambia, where President Hakainde Hichilema comes from a minority tribe, and Lungu comes from a bigger tribe. So I don't know if the tribal issues are playing out in Zambia. So very interesting to see what is going to happen. Let's see if the US Embassy says anything about this. But I know that the party of President Hakainde Hichilema has already commented today and said that they don't mind this meeting. It is the right of Lungu. And also the US Embassy can meet anyone they want to meet in Zambia. So amazing stuff over there. And then let's look at some business stories. I want to start with the Benjamin Marwaru and Hopewell Chinono. So you remember Hopewell Chinono made an announcement that he's going to be using his position to look for support. So Hopewell Chinono was in Rwanda, or I don't know if this was Rwanda or wherever, but he's saying that he has arranged a deal between Benjamin Marwaru and the Minister of Sport of Rwanda. So you can go to his Twitter and check it out. Hopewell Chinono, one of the most powerful people in terms of connections. So probably the most prominent person or journalist in Zimbabwe is Hopewell Chinono at the top. Akasimbira kumsoro Hopewell. He knows a lot of people at the top. And then Gambapwe akasimbira kumasero. He knows a lot of people on the ground. Pakaipa guys. Right, let me now go to one more story. There is a confusion in Victoria Falls. Miekels Hotel has issued a statement to say that they're not selling the Victoria Falls Hotel. I don't know what this is about. So Emerged Railway Properties and the Victoria Falls Hotel Partnership, Miekels say they're still in there, and I don't know what's happening. So check it out. That is a big story because Victoria Falls is going to become the biggest place. In fact, the capital city of Zimbabwe is going to become Victoria Falls because Harare is now a mess. It can't be fixed. If you want to do well, do your stuff in the Victoria Falls. That is going to be the capital city of Zimbabwe. Don't do Bulawayo. Don't do Harare. The systems there have collapsed. In Bulawayo, there's no water for the past 4 weeks. In Harare, the water is poisoned with cyanide. So don't do anything in those two cities. The future is in Victoria Falls. And that is why there's a big fight in Victoria Falls, a fight for resources, a fight for space. There's a lot of fighting over there within ZANU-PF and CC, and also all the big people want to go into Victoria Falls. And even so, we were going over there yesterday with his girlfriend, Wikno. Wikno, in future, he must be put under house arrest. So Wikno, he mustn't be put in jail. Wikno must be put in a room with windows. So like a room at the top, so that he can see Zimbabwe developing. I don't want him to be put in jail. So I want, in future, Wikno to be locked up in a room with the glass on 4 sides. Maybe put him there, and then every morning you take him breakfast and lunch and dinner. But he must see Zimbabwe developing from a house with the glass. Take all his money and feed it to Zimbabweans. He's stolen that money from ZESA. Most of the money that Wikno's got, they stole it from ZESA in January with Mnangagwa, when ZESA lost a court case of over 120 million. In fact, 127 million US dollars. After the CEO of ZESA failed to appear in court, and Chivai won the case just by himself being a witness. So most of the money that Chivai has got comes from that 127 million from ZESA. That is why he's able to buy all those cars. Then you've got people like Scott Sapanya. Scott Sapanya must be in jail. That one for killing Pastor Tafumani Masaya. And that includes all the officials in government who covered up that crime. I now want to go to partnerships, and then I'll make a few comment announcements. So I was telling you about our construction. This is the process of constructing our tiny home. So you see the foundation there. The foundation is made of the same material as the top. And what happens is, if you want to move your house, you can just carry the whole thing away. So let's say you don't like living in Harare anymore and you want to go to live in Blaawai. You just take your house and go. That is the material, the special material that we are using for constructing a tiny house. The house cost $5,000 to construct only. Obviously, the cost of moving is a different thing. The cost of, let's say you want to add other things, is a different thing. But this is a stunning house. This is the house that I'm showing here. And we're going to have our first demo house here in South Africa by the end of January. Amazing house. There's no one in Zimbabwe who mustn't have a house. And the demand has been stunning. So there's been so many people. We've got over 1,000 people now interested. But my target is we have a demo house so that you can touch it by the end of January. I'm so amazed and I like this house, a tiny house. There is no person in Zimbabwe who mustn't have a house. You rather not have a car, you have a bicycle. Then obviously, if you want to partner with me, you can come and have a chat with me. I've got a number of plans for Botswana and the guys in Botswana there. And imagine if Mozambique becomes peaceful, it will be an unlimited opportunity. You become a billionaire from this thing. Then let's go to Mumbai. Our factory is closed, guys. Yesterday we had the largest number of orders. And what has happened is that some of the stock has run out in South Africa. So the only stock that is available is at our new pickup point in Borders, in Midrand. So you'll be able to pick up this packet, this one. So you see where we are now. We started a new packet, and by now you should be starting a new packet. And the reason being, you need to obviously keep going. So for the guys, and for those guys who are on medicine of diabetes and so forth. However, for the guys with 1 liter engine, I've got an emergency for you. So we're giving you an emergency or complementary Empower. So Empower is Moringa. There is a new formulation that is over there. So when you pick up your packet at Borders, this one, they're also going to give you 1 simple pill of Empower. And Empower is manufactured here in South Africa. I've gone to the factory and I said to the guy, this is Empower. You can't get it in Europe. I don't know how to get it into Europe, but I'll make a plan to do a test run over there, and also to talk to their factory when they open to see how they're getting it into Europe and America. So these are natural herbs. There is no man who mustn't have a traditional healer. In India, I've got my own traditional healer where I go. My traditional healer who deals with the herbs, not consulting, and this is Mnangagwa and Oromba. I go there specifically for my health needs. So if you're in Africa, you must have your own traditional healer and herbs so that you don't get some of those serious illnesses. But in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be opening our men's clinic in Harare. Apologies that I need to charge. I forgot it. We're going to be opening our men's clinic in Harare. And I'll let you guys know where it's going to be located. We're going to help you with the blood tests, with improving your health, and to make sure that you prevent serious illnesses. That is going to happen very, very soon. We've got a number of people who have offered us to come and locate in their locations. So I'll let you guys know where to go to deal with health. But the most important thing is to control your disease before it breaks out into an illness. You don't want to be like Mdara Uyu, Mohadi. But if Mohadi comes to me, for a month, you see him walking straight. Now let's look at the newspapers. I want to see what is in the newspapers. So let's start with the Chronicle newspaper. Chronicle newspaper, I like it because they normally report stuff that is happening on the ground. So let's see what is in the Chronicle Zimbabwe, if there's anything at all. So the Chronicle newspaper is the newspaper from Blaawai, my first newspaper where I published. So my first article ever, besides my own newspaper, was in the Chronicle newspaper. And that was in 1998. So let's see what they are saying here about Mnangagwa. Everything's about Mnangagwa these days. There is no newspaper that is going to cover Chiwenga. I can even, without looking, I can tell you that no one is going to cover Chiwenga because there's a blackout. So this is the newspaper here. Shopping supermarkets closed is after an armed robbery. So someone came in here and robbed this place and shot up the place. And they say that shopping supermarket in Luveve suburb was closed these doors yesterday, just 2 days after armed robbery. So they're not going to come back. This is done. This place is closed. And this place just got bought by Modi. And then this economist says Zimbabwe's revenue collection system is great. I don't think so. I think it's a mess. And then what else? Coventry in the IOC mix. I can't believe Ketsi is a member of ZANU. Can you believe that Ketsi is a member of ZANU? Like other guys in Zimbabwe, like they'll be like, Ketsi, how did you become a member of ZANU? It's crazy. Don't take shortcuts. So what I always tell people is don't take shortcuts. You're going to do well if you just wait for the right people to be in office. But when I can't see, they're benefiting from the system. She's damaged her reputation. And in the future, she's going to go down in history as a member of Mnangagwa's government. There's nothing wrong with ZANU, but what is wrong is the way that Mnangagwa is behaving, running ZANU like a family business. Then let's see what else is there in the Herald. Government initiatives, guarantee food security. You can see Mnangagwa over there. Mnangagwa is using Sekroma Suka to pretend as if there's a lot of food in Zimbabwe. There is no food in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is the worst place, full of hunger and drought. And then we've got this case here. This is an amazingly stupid case where there is a guy called Mugwazi, Richard Mugwazi. I don't know what position he holds in ZANU PF. He's been exporting lithium to Beira, pretending that it's chrome. So now they've taken away his trucks, and the Chinese guy who was working with the Louis Bo has run away to China. So this is crazy. I've told you that in the past that lithium is being exported as chrome to China. So Mugwazi is pretending that he doesn't know what happened here. They know very well that they've been exporting chrome, because he says it costs $750 to move a truck of lithium from Harare to Beira. Even the fuel and the driver, it's not enough. So they're definitely lying. They must arrest him. But the people behind the lithium business in Zimbabwe, it's not Mugwazi. There is a big group around Mnangagwa that is doing lithium over there, moving lithium to China for almost nothing. And the crazy thing is, let me show you how the exports of Zimbabwe are looking right now. So this is in the Chronicle newspaper, I think. The UAE is the biggest export market for Zimbabwe, followed by China and South Africa. South Africa has moved from number 1 to number 3. This is because of gold. So a lot of gold is being pushed in the UAE. Lithium is being pushed into China. And we're talking formal here. Informally, it's crazy. There is a lot of goods moving out of Zimbabwe and minerals to these countries without being checked. And that is why these guys don't want to leave office. They're still wanting to take as much as possible. We're almost doing no trade with Mozambique. That's unbelievable. We should be exporting more to Mozambique because Mozambique produces nothing. Do you know that the tissue, if you want to use the tissue in Mozambique, it comes from Portugal. It's unbelievable. If you go into the spa, one of the biggest spa shops there in Maputo, almost all the products are from Portugal. They make nothing, those guys. And that is because there's no capacity. That is what Venancio Mondlane is trying to fix in Mozambique. He's trying to make Mozambique a proper country. Under Nyusi and Frelimo, Mozambique became a basket case, or a country that imports everything. And yet they've got so much. So that is why you see, Kuti, if you look at Zimbabwe, what Mnangagwa has done is to turn the country into a place for natural or for raw materials. So Mozambique and Zimbabwe, the only thing that they do is produce raw materials. And a country will never develop that way. You need to have a lot of tertiary industries, and then you need to produce goods, build houses. Those are the kind of things that you need to do. Under Mnangagwa anachera gold from morning to evening. That's all he does. He doesn't do anything else. If you say there's gold somewhere, Mnangagwa will be over there. He doesn't care about production. He doesn't care about anything else. That is what Mnangagwa does. And that is what has been happening under Frelimo. They are bringing people in to dig gems and rubies, and they are only worried about that money. They don't care about developing the country or connecting the country. So Mozambique has really fallen back over the past 5 years. And that is why you see young people are so angry with Frelimo, and they want a new government to come into place over there. All right, guys, I think I've talked for enough. Let's see if I've left anything else. What is trending in South Africa? In South Africa, what is trending is a company called Altec Nexta. And I'm going to be giving you guys what is wrong with their system later on when I've got an opportunity. There's something called the panic button here in South Africa. So there's a big outcry over their response. And I'm going to give you an update on that sometime this week. One guy was chased by robbers yesterday on the freeway, and he pressed the panic button. The company was unable to respond. So that is very big here. Crime is very big in South Africa, and people want to know that they are safe. So let me bring this to an end. Let's look at the comments. Why can't you open a men's clinic in Masvingo? As you say, they want to take Victoria Fort as capital city. No, Mkoma. Right now, I'm going to do it in Harare because it's a place where we start, and there is a plan. So there is a plan. Don't worry, we've got a plan. What happened on 27 December? I'm saying, wait, Mkoma Prince, it's not popcorn. This is not popcorn. What is going to happen has already started. It started on the 27th of December. In fact, it started the day Mnangagwa tried to enter the Great Zimbabwe, and the ancestors pushed him out. So Mnangagwa was pushed out by the ancestors. They took his helicopter and they dropped it like a toy. That is what the ancestors did. Ask Mnangagwa what happened when his helicopter dropped. I talked to people who were present during that time when Mnangagwa's helicopter dropped. They say the things that happened to that helicopter have never been seen. The spirits were so angry. They took that helicopter and crashed it like a little toy. And Mnangagwa is afraid. You will never see Mnangagwa at the Great Zimbabwe again. He knows what is happening. Ngoma Pisa is always spread lies. Let's see what happens. And thank you very much, Ngoma Colin. I really appreciate all the support that you guys are giving us. And as I said, please go, if you're in South Africa, to Boulders More and Midrand. That is where you're going to pick up your supply. You just WhatsApp this number, and I'll tell you where to collect your stock. So going forward, if you're in Midrand or if you're in Johannesburg and you run out of Mumve, you can just go at Boulders and pick up your 200 grams over there. I've decided for the South African guys, I will maintain the 200 grams. And for my brothers in the UK, there will be a slight delay because our factory here is closed in South Africa. Right, let's see if there's anything else that I've left. I think I've covered everything, and I'm very happy that we're coming to an end. We're finishing strong, and tomorrow, the 1st, let's see what happens. How do we start 2025? Something big is going to happen. Don't die in 2024. Most people don't know. Could 2025 ikure? Vamwe vakatitarisa pano. Tomorrow we won't be with you. So stay away from trouble. 31 December is the worst day to die. It means kuti unenge watadza kusvika 2025. So Mohadi achaiona here 2025. President, acting president, is he going to see 2025? Thank you very much.